What if gravity suddenly decided to change its mind and started working sideways? Let's say you wake up one morning, open your eyes, and instead of your blanket resting comfortably on you, it's now plastered against the wall. You try to stand up, but you immediately fall into your bookshelf. Congratulations, you now live in a world where down is whatever direction gravity decided is left. Or right, it doesn't really matter. Your entire house is now a vertical death trap. To understand just how weird this would be, we need to remember what gravity is actually doing. Normally, it pulls everything toward the center of the Earth. But if gravity pulled sideways, that means the Earth's down is no longer toward its core. It's toward a random point on the horizon. Suddenly, oceans wouldn't stay in their basins. They'd pour out like someone tipped the planet over. Within minutes, trillions of tons of water would start rushing across continents, creating the largest sideways tsunamis in history. If you lived on what used to be the low side of the Earth, you'd now live underwater. If you lived on the high side, you'd have a nice ocean view briefly before your entire city was washed away. The atmosphere wouldn't behave much better. Air is held near the Earth by gravity too, so if gravity worked sideways, the air would try to fall in that direction. Winds would instantly reach hundreds of kilometers per hour, turning everything not nailed, or rather glued to the ground, into a flying projectile. Birds would have no idea what was happening. Planes would become completely uncontrollable, basically turning into sideways meteors. Buildings would be in trouble too. Skyscrapers are built to handle vertical weight and some horizontal wind, but not to have their entire mass pulled sideways. Within seconds, most tall structures would collapse like dominoes. In this sideways gravity world, the only safe buildings would be underground bunkers, which would suddenly become sideways tunnels. But what about people? Could you adapt? Well, walking would become nearly impossible without hooks, ropes, or magnetic boots. Every step you take would feel like climbing a cliff. Forget your car, it's now lying on its side, and even if you could start it, the engine oil and fuel are now in the wrong places. Trains would derail instantly, and bicycles, well, they'd just fall over. Again and again. Animals would have a hard time too. Imagine a sideways waterfall in the Amazon, with fish being flung out like liquid confetti. Herd animals like elephants and zebras would be unable to stand. Cats, on the other hand, would probably act like nothing happened. They'd just pretend this was their plan all along. And here's the big one, the moon. The moon's gravity causes tides because it pulls on Earth's oceans. If Earth's gravity was sideways, the moon would now be pulling up or down relative to the new sideways pull. This means the ocean would slosh around in 3 different directions at once. Think of it like shaking a soda bottle while also turning it upside down. Except the soda is the size of the Atlantic Ocean. Now, let's talk long term. If sideways gravity somehow stayed constant, humans might rebuild civilization by attaching everything to the ground with massive bolts and cables. Streets would become vertical climbing paths. Entire cities might be carved into cliffs with people living in what used to be mountainsides. Sports would change completely. Sideways basketball would mean shooting hoops across a wall, while soccer would require kicking the ball uphill all the time. But realistically, we wouldn't survive long. Earth's rotation depends on the balance of forces toward its center. Sideways gravity would throw that off instantly, causing the planet's crust to tear apart. Volcanoes would erupt sideways, magma flowing across the land like a molten river. And if that's not bad enough, the sideways pull would actually start moving the planet itself, slowly knocking it out of its orbit. Within months, Earth could drift toward the sun, or straight into the cold darkness of space. So, what if gravity worked sideways? In short, chaos, destruction, and a lot of confused cats. You'd better keep your climbing gear handy because going to the store might literally mean scaling a skyscraper. And if you're wondering how to prepare for this, well, there's really no way to prepare. Unless you've always wanted to live in a world where walking to your fridge is basically a rock climbing expedition. Sometimes it's nice that gravity is boring.